onto the Imperial Knights. Now, Imperial Knights did get a little bit of a buff here. So, Imperial Knights players will know that you can either be Questor Mechanicus or Questor Imperialis, depending on if you're aligned with the Mechanicus or not. It made a slight little difference to what stratagems, relics, and warlord traits and stuff that you had access to previously. Now it does give them a little bit of a buff in addition. So any Questor Mechanicus models regain 1 wound at the start of your turn. That is fantastic. Questor Imperialis unit, add 1 to advance and charge rolls for models with this Questor allegiance. This is not cumulative with other modifiers such as Landstrider. Fair enough. We've got 6 warlord traits, 3 for each. Paragon of the Omnissiah for a Mechanicus, add 2 to his wounds. Very good. Cold Eradication, when determining the number of attacks this warlord makes with a heavy weapon, with a random number, roll 1 additional dice and discard 1. That's cool. That would be very cool for a thermal cannon, I think. I can't think of any other weapon. Maybe the Castellan or the Valiant would be quite useful for that. Calculate a target, and when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by this warlord, an unmodified hit roll of a 4 is always successful. That's fine. In fact, that's good, because if he's wounded, the 4's always hit. That's really good, actually. Revered Knight for Imperialis. This warlord always fights first in the fight phase, even if he did not charge. If the opposing player has similar abilities, alternate. Strike and Shield. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon against this warlord, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Whilst an enemy unit is within an inch of this warlord, subtract 1 from attacks characteristics of each vehicle and monster model in that unit. That's okay. Tireless Duty. This warlord can perform heroic intervention within 6. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to then double back over to the stratagems. There is a name generator as well. It's cool. They've done it with nearly everything. But some of the stratagems are pretty useful. So, Close Quarter Destruction. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a knight errant model from your army is chosen to shoot with. Until the end of the phase, when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against a model that is within half the weapon's maximum range, you can re-roll the wound roll. Very, very useful on them thermal cannons. We've got Thin Their Ranks, which is for Armiger Helverin models in the shooting phase. Until the end of the phase, Armiger auto cannons that model is equipped with make 6 attacks when targeting a unit that contains 6 or more models rather than 2d3. That's very, very good. Hurled Wreckage. Use this stratagem when an enemy vehicle or monster is destroyed as a result of an attack made with a Thunderstrike Gauntlet, Paragon Gauntlet, or Freedom's Hand. When resolving that weapon's ability as a result of that enemy model being destroyed, if an enemy vehicle or monster unit is selected as the target, the unit automatically suffers 3 mortal wounds. Do not roll a dice. It's okay. Flanking Maneuver. Use this stratagem in your movement phase when an Imperial Knights model from your army is chosen to advance. Add 8 inches to the model's move characteristic until the end of the phase. Instead of making the advance roll, the model must end their move within 12 inches of a battlefield edge and cannot charge. Capacitor Charge. A Knight Preceptor gets to make heavy 6 attacks instead. Pack Tactics. Warglaves in the fight phase. When it is chosen to fight, select 1 enemy unit within an inch, and until the end of the phase, increase the attack characteristic of the Armiger Warglaive model and all other friendly Armiger Warglaive models within an inch of the enemy unit by 1 for each other friendly Warglaive within an inch, up to a maximum of 2 additional attacks. That's okay. Trophy Claim. Use this stratagem when an enemy Titanic model is destroyed as a result of an attack made by a melee weapon from an Imperial Knight. Until the end of the battle, add 1 to the attack characteristic. That's okay, but 1 CP for 1 extra attack after you've killed the Titanic unit, it's very situational. Electrothermic Overload for a Knight Valiant. After inflicting damage as a result of an attack made with a Thunder Coil Harpoon, each enemy unit within 3 inches of the target suffers D3 mortal wounds. It is very good, but the problem is the Valiant is not. Getting the Valiant that close to use the Harpoon, and then you've got a hit, and then you've got a wound, and then the opponent's not got a save. But if there's something clustered up, you know, that's going to be pretty good. It's situational. Repulsing Conflagration for a Knight Valiant. Until the end of the turn, subtract 2 from charge rolls made for units that target this model. Fair enough. Belligerent Machine Spirit on a Knight Warden in your shooting phase. Until the end of the phase, the range of that model's Avenger Gatling cannon is changed to 8. And when resolving an attack made with it, do not make a hit roll. It automatically scores a hit. That is very, very good. Siegebreaker Bombardment for a Knight Castellan in the shooting phase until the end of the phase. So long as they did not move in your previous moving phase, add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with twin Siegebreaker cannons. Okay. Linebreaker is for a Gallant in the fight phase until the end of the phase. When making pile-in and consolidation moves, you can move up to 6 inches. Cover and advances for a Knight Crusader. After an enemy model has lost any wounds as a result of an attack made with a rapid-fire battle cannon, Avenger Gatling cannon, or thermal cannon by a Knight Crusader model from your army, until the end of the turn, the enemy model's unit cannot fire Overwatch. And it's only if they've lost any wounds, so that's quite handy. So you basically use the Crusader, hurt something badly, stop from overwatching, get that Gallant in there. Thunderstruck makes a Knight Paladin's rapid fire battle cannon damage 3. So that's pretty cool. And then you've got Household Traditions to make your own as well. You do get to pick 2 of these unless there's an asterisk next to them. So there is some quite powerful ones. There is a lot to choose from, and some of them seem quite decent. So we've got Aggressive Persecution. When a model with this tradition fires Overwatch, you can reroll or shoot or fight. You can reroll a single dice when determining the damage as a result of the attacks. It's okay. Blessed Weapons, add 6 inches to the maximum range characteristic of ranged weapons a model with this tradition is equipped with, that have an unmodified range of 24 or more, and add 2 to any others. Glorified History, when a model with this tradition fires Overwatch or is chosen to shoot or fight with, you can reroll a single hit. Shattered Empire Stalkers. So you can't take another one with this. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against a model with this tradition by a model that is more than 24 inches away, it is treated as having the benefit of cover to its saving throw. I don't understand why you can only take that one. Unremitting, when a model with this tradition fires Overwatch or is chosen to shoot with, you can reroll a single dice when determining the number of attacks that model makes when attacking with a heavy weapon that has a random number of attacks. Again, why can you only take that as one? You've got Slayer of Beasts. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model with this tradition against a vehicle or monster, add 1 to the hit rolls. That's decent. Hunters of the Unseen, so you can't double this one up either. When resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon, target does not receive the benefit of cover. Why? Why is that only 1? Defiant Fury, whilst a model with this tradition has lost half or more of its wounds, increase its attacks by 1. And when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model with this tradition that has lost half or more of its wounds, add 1 to the hit roll. So you get +1 attack and +1 to hit. That's decent, and like that's not even like you can take another one with that. Storm Riders, add 1 to the move characteristic of models with this tradition. and always use the top row when determining the move characteristic, regardless of how many wounds it has left. Cool. An Armiger class model with this tradition can either shoot or charge in a turn in which it fell back. If it shoots when resolving an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Cool. And that can be doubled up as well, so that's actually quite good if you're running a lot of Armigers. Noble Combatants, when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model with this tradition, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores 1 additional hit. Exacting Charge, if a model with this tradition makes a charge move, is charged or performs a heroic intervention, the armor penetration characteristic of melee weapons is improved by 1. Honored Sacristans, this is a one-time only one. When resolving an attack made with a weapon that has an armor penetration characteristic of -1, it's treated as being 0. It's a bit naff. Survivors of Strife, add 1 to the wounds characteristic of Armiger class models with this tradition, add 2 to the wounds characteristic of all other models. You can only choose that as 1. So, you could actually have, you could have a 32 wound Castellan. If you take the Warlord trait to give him +2 wounds. Pains of Old Knight, when resolving an attack made by a model with this tradition against a Psych or a Demon, reroll wound rolls of a 1. Why can you only take that 1? That seems mad. When resolving an attack made with a model by this tradition is subject to any negative hit roll modifiers, add 1 to the hit roll. That is actually decent. Guardians of the Frontier, whilst a model with this tradition is within an inch of enemy units that contain 11 or more models, increase its attack characteristic by 1. Now, I wonder if that is like a nod to Hordes for 9th edition. So I think 11 or more models will be classed as a Horde in 9th edition, because these were wrote with 9th edition in mind. Frontline Fighters, when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon by model with this tradition against a unit within 12, improve the AP of that weapon by 1. Cool. Steel Sinewed Aim, models with this tradition do not suffer penalties to their hit rolls for advancing and shooting assault weapons. Nobody has assault weapons. Or hardly anyone. And Sanctified Armor, when a model with this tradition would lose a wound in the Psychic phase, roll a d6 on 5+, it's not lost. I don't think this is the most powerful thing for Knights. There's nothing in here that changes them very much. You've got access to a few more stratagems. Unless you're going fluffy, I don't think the household traditions are going to be used very often. But these two are the main things. The Sacristan Pledge and the Vow of Honour, I think may change people's builds ever so slightly for Imperials. But for Mechanicus, I think it's just going to give you that extra durability. But personally, add 2 to the Warlord's wound characteristic. Quest to Mechanicus allowed regain a wound every turn. And then there was one that was +2 wounds. I can't see where. Oh, there. So Survivors of Strife. It's cool. I think that is a nice little combo that you can have to, seriously buff the number of wounds that your models have. It's cool. I don't think there's anything in here that breaks it. It just helps Knights a little bit more. Let me know what your thoughts are on this though. What would you guys run? What stratagems are your favourite? And would you use any of these household traditions?